What's going on, guys? Welcome back to the channel. My name is Amy, and we are gonna do something fun and different today, which is a Q&A. So I'm just going over to this nice scenic spot that I know. Great view of the city skyline for Vegas, and I'm gonna pull over there and answer some questions. Really appreciate you guys submitting the questions when I put it on my I did a post like a week and a half ago, whatever it was, and yeah, appreciate those who put some questions in there about this beast, Kawasaki ZX14R. Yeah, had this bike now for 3 years this month. Very end of August I got it in 2021, and it's just been a fantastic bike. My favorite bike of all the 6 bikes I've owned. And I thought, you know, let's do something different. Early today. It's a little after 8. We of course will hit over 100. It's I think I heard somewhere that Vegas is on this like crazy streak of most consecutive days over 100 degrees. I mean, I have literally not seen it below 100 since I moved here, and that was the beginning of July. So yeah, long freaking streak. But there is hope. I saw on the weather forecast Friday we are looking at a high of 97. So I am definitely looking forward to that. And you know, cooler temps are always nice. And actually, you know, 90s aren't so bad here. It's dry heat, so you're talking like, you know, 90s feels like, to me, it feels like 80s from Florida, you know. And I'm like, okay, I can handle that. It's the hundreds that are, you know, for riding, it's just not enjoyable, right? So right now it says it's 90 already, and it's just gonna keep getting hotter. Hey, darn it, they're ruining my view. They just put this fencing up. Man, I was hoping to have this like great background for you guys. You could kind of see the skyline here. Darn, that sucks. Well, we're gonna park in the shade right here and hope nobody needs to back out. Cause yeah, my intention was to not do this in the sun, right? And I wanted to have it like nice little shady spot. I should have got here earlier too. Okay, so, you know, I was going to show myself on screen, but I'm like trying to think logistically, looking at the phone for the questions. You guys can kind of see me. Yeah, it was just going to be a little tough. Pulling up my channel. Pulling up the questions. Yeah, let's get off the bike here. Just kind of walk around it while here we go. Okay, so I'd asked, what questions do you have about the Kawasaki Ninja ZX14R, right? And appreciate you, Large Karkin 8504. You asked a bunch of questions. Okay. would you like to see Kawasaki do a 1500cc version? I guess they have a jet ski with a supercharged 1500cc engine. That is really interesting to know. Because I actually just rented a Kawasaki jet ski this past weekend, or this past week, when I was out in what's that lake called? Lake Powell in Utah, and I don't even know what CCs it was. I think it was like 600, somewhere between 600 and 750 would be my guess, and it was super fun. Um, I don't feel like going from 1441 to 1500 would be like a huge enough jump. Um, However, if they change the engine, I don't know. Like, I always wondered, why was it that Yamaha was the only one to do, the type of engine that the R1 has, right? That cross plane. Like, why are they the only ones that did that? I don't understand why other manufacturers didn't, unless Yamaha has some sort of patent on it, or why it's just that bike, right? Like, why didn't Yamaha do other bikes with it? Because as far as I know, it's just the R1, right? I don't think there's any other bikes that do it. But yeah, I think going to 1500, something would have to change. You're talking like 60cc extra. I guess that would definitely make a difference, but um, I don't know that it would make enough of a difference to redesign the engine for just making it bigger. This engine's definitely much more powerful than the Hayabusa. I had a 2022 Hayabusa, which is the Gen 3, and even flashed and tuned. I mean, it was a beast, right? Don't get me wrong, but this one still got more power. I never raced myself, of course. Never had anybody to race the other bike, but okay, so answered some of the questions in the 3-year review. Okay, and then he also asked, is it a sport tourer or sport bike in the eyes of the insurance companies in terms of like insurance premiums? Yeah, they consider it a sport bike for sure. Because every time I've called to change, upgrade the insurance, it's like, yeah, you could just tell by the price you're getting quoted, right? I want to say, if it was Progressive that told me, or if it was Geico, that it's the CCs. So I don't necessarily think it has to do with it being a sport bike per se, right? I think it has to do with the CCs. I could be wrong. In some insurance companies it might be different, but I believe that's what they're going off of. Now, if you had a cruiser with similar CCs, there's probably some change with that. Like, it's probably not going to cost you the same to have a 1441, if there is one, CC cruiser bike versus this bike. So they probably weigh it in somehow. Is it easier to handle as a daily bike than a ZX10? I never had a ZX10. I only ever had a Kawasaki Ninja 650, an '08, when it was called the 650R. So I don't know. I don't have experience to tell you that. However, I had a Gixxer 600, I had a Gixxer 750, and of course the Kawasaki Ninja 650. And I feel like the way my bike is set up, it's easier to handle in the sense of the displacement. So the bike is stretched, it's lowered, the tank seating position and all that is very comfortable. The handlebars, are not ridiculously low. I wouldn't say they're as high as a beginner bike or a touring bike, but they're not like, way down where you have to really reach for it. So I think in terms of the comfort and whatnot, and the way like mine specifically is set up, I think it's easier to handle in those aspects. However, in terms of weight, this bike is a heavy bike, right? Like, I'm not sure with the stock exhaust cans off of it. I would guess it's somewhere just under 600 pounds. So I think over, like, if you have the stock cans on, I think it's like 625, 650, something like that. So, yeah, for those reasons, I think it's easier to handle, and I feel like it has more presence on the road. Like, I feel more planted, especially on highway riding, which is a big deal for me, because I remember on the smaller bikes, the 650, the 600, the 750, like, you felt like you know, you're just all over the place, right? The wind and everything, you have to stay tucked. This bike, I can sit up, like, you know, straight up, my hands straight up, you know, just level at 80 miles an hour. You know, as long as it's not like crazy windy, I just feel like the way the bike is aerodynamically designed, that it's just extremely comfortable. If I was going to do a long trip, this would be the bike, right? If I wanted it to be a sport bike. You know, obviously there's much more comfortable bikes that are cruisers, but, you know, I'm just not a cruiser person, so. You ever ridden a Suzuki Hayabusa? How does it compare? Yeah, so I had the 22 Hayabusa. I put about 8,000 miles on it. It was a brand new bike when I got it. And that bike was not set up the way I really wanted it to be. And by that I mean, when I got the Busa, I didn't realize that in order to lower the front end, you had to replace the triple tree, right? You had to get in here and do all this crap, and it was going to cost like an extra $500 on top of the $250 or $300 it cost to lower the rear. So all I did was lower the rear. So it kind of had this like slightly lowered stance in the back and not in the front. And it was kind of annoying because on the highway it would catch all that wind because you're up, right? You're stock height in the front and you're low in the rear. Oh, I'm sorry. You getting out? Yeah, sorry, buddy. Yeah, let's move the bike here. Anyways, I should pay attention. The Busa, the way mine was set up, not as comfortable. I also felt like on the new gen. Now, granted, I've never ridden the second gen, first gen. I don't even think I've sat on one. I can't remember now. Maybe not. But I felt like on the new gen, the third gen Busas, where my knees actually gripped was like way down here. And on these new gens, they have this like stupid trim panel on both sides that has these like ribbed edges. You can't put grip on it. It won't stick. It's that cheap plastic trim, you know, that they put on cars these days. And there's just no way to get anything to stick to it. So I always felt like I couldn't grip properly with my knees. And I put the, you know, the stomp grips on it on the tank, but I would have to like raise my knees up really high in order to even really use them. So it's kind of a waste. And for that reason, I always felt like, you know, I couldn't really sit into the bike. Now, it could be because I'm just, you know, I just got like short legs. I have a long torso and I have short legs. So if you're a guy and you're, you know, average height for a guy, I don't know, 6 foot or just under, you know, and your displacement of your physique is a little different, then it might be a better ride for you. But those were the things I didn't like about it, and it was pretty much an easy choice to choose this bike over the Busa, because when I moved from Florida to Missouri, I could only take one bike in my dirt bike. So it was an easy choice. And this one was paid for, which helped, but you know, I just was like, of the two, this one wins by a mile. Still liked the Busa and everything. It was a fun ride, lots of power, lots of pep, and unique in its own way. But yeah, that's that. I'd say they're very different, even though they're probably the only two like considered like hyper bikes, or I don't know what's the term for these two, hyper sport. You know, until the H2 came along, like those were the two big boys. And I think it's best to, you know, if you have a chance to ride them, do so. It's one thing to sit on it, right? It's another thing to actually feel how it feels when you're riding, because you're seated slightly differently. And you know, if you can test ride it, go for it. How many miles are you getting out of your tires? So yeah, these boys, I think when I last checked my maintenance records, I've put about 4,000 on these tires, and I still got plenty of tread. Like, I'm not even hardly, you know, scuffing these at all. Just a lot of straight riding. You know, I was just starting to ride a lot more in Missouri before I moved, some of the curvy roads and whatnot. So I got plenty of life on these tires right now. These are the Michelin's Power This is my second pair of these, by the way. I got Michelin 255 17s, and I think it's the Sport 5. I don't know why I can't see that. I thought it said it on the sidewall. But yeah, these are great tires. The last set, I believe I got somewhere between 8 and 9,000 out of them. So, as far as I know, I think that's really, really good for a sport bike. And you know, I don't rip it like crazy all the time. You know, you see me like gun it a little bit here and there, but I'm not like a crazy maniac constantly taking off or doing any kind of, you know, street racing, or I don't take it to the drag strip, none of that. So, you know, of course, I'm going to get a lot more life out of my tires than most people. Um, I remember when I first got this bike, I was like, man, this is just a great bike to just go long distance on, you know, to go for longer rides. I had the ZX14R right before this, 2021, and you know, that bike was fun. I felt like I fit it properly, like I had a good, you know, position on the bike. But you know, I could only ride it for like, I don't know, like an hour, and then I was just like, man, I'm done, right? So yeah, so that's pretty much it. You know, guys, feel free to keep asking questions. If I get a bunch more, I'll do another Q&A video for you. But yeah, so that's gonna wrap it up. Hope y'all enjoyed the vlog. Sorry I couldn't be on camera. I would have had to take the helmet off, figure out some position, and you know, unfortunately, this stupid fence is here now. But what a view, right? I don't know if you guys can see the strat way back there, that needle point thing. You get the casinos over there. You get the beautiful, you know, I don't know if you call them, I guess they're mountains. It's not like really big mountains, but this is Vegas, baby. So anyways, stay tuned. Gonna be doing more and more videos. Gonna be doing specific stuff like 3 things I hate about this bike, 3 things I love about this bike kind of videos. Do some more Q&As. Once you guys start asking some questions, I'll just maybe start gathering the questions for the next video. And it could be about other things motorcycle related. It doesn't have to be specifically about the ZX14R. You know, other bikes I've owned, as I mentioned, the 2022 Suzuki Hayabusa, 2021 Suzuki GXR1400, 2007 GXR1400, 2008 Kawasaki Ninja 650R, my Kawasaki KLX 140 dirt bike, and then of course this bike. So any questions about any of those, feel free to drop them in the comments, and I will answer in a future video. All right, guys, thanks for watching. Appreciate you. Love you. Peace.